Jack swung the door open and heard his son hiss, "Stop, don't let him see it." His stomach dropped. Not again. He rushed toward the dining room, bracing for the usual chaos. Toothpaste smeared on walls, something expensive shattered, another resignation letter on the counter. But when he got there, he just stood in the doorway, unable to move. Anna Thompson wasn't yelling, wasn't running, wasn't threatening to call him. She was on the floor with his 4 sons pressed close to her, like she was the only safe thing in the world. Cole's hands were shaking. Grant was crying into her shoulder. Hudson wouldn't look up. And Asher was whispering a prayer he'd never heard any nanny teach. The house was still. The boys were still. And Jack realized something that knocked the air out of him. His sons weren't broken. They were just terrified of being left again. Jack Sullivan is 45 years old. A billionaire who closes deals in glass towers near K Street, shakes hands at charity galas, gets his name in the Washington Post business section. From the outside, his life looks like everything a man could want. Private driver. Security gate. A Georgetown address people recognize. But inside his house, it's been 3 years of war. 3 years ago, his wife Marissa died in a car crash on I-395 during a rainstorm. The boys were barely 3 years old. Cole, Grant, Hudson, and Asher. Quadruplets. For little boys who lost their mother before they had the words to understand what gone forever meant. And in the 8 months since Jack started hiring help, 22 nannies walked through that door. 22 professionals with degrees, references, years of experience. Some lasted a week. Some lasted a day. A few didn't even make it to lunch. The boys set traps on the stairs. Locked doors. Hid phones. Smeared toothpaste on pillows. Screamed until neighbors called. Broke anything that looked expensive just to prove it didn't matter. It wasn't because they were bad. It was because they learned something most kids don't learn until they're older. The world can take away the person you love most without warning. So you might as well push everyone else out before you lose them too. Jack's staff tried to help. Therapists came and went. Specialists gave him charts and plans. He paid for all of it, hoping money could buy peace. It couldn't. The house kept cracking. And so did Jack. He was exhausted. Ashamed. Quietly angry at God for letting his family fall apart. That's when Anna Thompson showed up. Not as a trained nanny. Not as a child behavior expert. As a maid. A woman hired to fold laundry and mop floors. She had steady hands, a soft voice, and a Bible that looked like it had been through a flood. She wasn't there to win against 4 little boys. She was there to outlast their fear. Jack didn't think she'd last 3 days. He told her that too. She just smiled and said, 3 days is enough to start. And on the 3rd morning, something happened that Jack still can't explain without his throat closing up. If you've ever watched a child push people away because they're scared of losing them, don't scroll past this. This story isn't just about 4 boys and a maid. It's about what happens when grief gets so loud, you forget how to let people in. Subscribe, not as a favor to me, but because stories like this remind us that broken families can still be held together if someone's willing to stay. Let me take you back to how that morning started. Because what Jack walked into didn't come out of nowhere. It came after 3 years of mornings that felt like survival, not life. Jack woke up to the sound of glass shattering downstairs. 6:47 a.m. He didn't even flinch anymore. He just lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to his sons' voices rising. Cole giving orders. Grant shouting back. Hudson's footsteps running across hardwood. Asher starting to whine, which meant the screaming would come next. This used to be the time Marissa would bring him coffee. She'd hum while she poured it, kiss his forehead, say something that made him smile. That was another life. Jack finally got up, got dressed, went downstairs. The kitchen looked like a crime scene. Cereal everywhere. Milk pooling on the counter. 4 bowls abandoned wherever they'd been thrown. And on the table, folded neatly next to the car keys, was a resignation letter. Mr. Sullivan, I'm sorry. I tried. I really did. But I can't do this anymore. They need more help than I can give. Please don't contact me again. 22. That made 22. Jack folded the letter and put it in the drawer with the others. A drawer full of failure. A drawer full of people who'd looked at his sons and decided they weren't worth the trouble. He couldn't even be angry anymore. Just tired. So deeply, endlessly tired. The boys were in the living room. Cole sat on the couch like a little king, arms crossed, watching Jack with those cold, calculating eyes. Grant was pacing, restless energy looking for something to destroy. Hudson had already disappeared somewhere, under the stairs probably, or in that crawl space behind the furnace. And Asher sat in the corner rocking slightly, that look on his face that meant he was about to lose it. "She's gone, isn't she?" Cole said. Not a question. A statement. Jack nodded. "Good," Cole said coldly. "She was mean anyway." "She wasn't mean, Cole. You put a frog in her bed." "It was just a frog. It was still alive." Cole shrugged. No remorse. No guilt. Just that blank look that scared Jack more than the anger did. This was what his sons had become. For little boys who'd learned that if you hurt people first, they can't hurt you when they leave. Jack's phone buzzed. Another meeting. Another day of pretending he had his life together while everything at home fell apart. He looked at his sons, really looked at them, and saw something that broke him. They weren't monsters. They were just 4 kids drowning, and he didn't know how to save them. The agency called that afternoon while Jack was in a conference room pretending to care about quarterly projections. His assistant knocked on the glass door. "Urgent," she mouthed. Jack stepped out. "What is it?" "The Nanny agency. They have someone, but..." She paused. "They said she's unconventional." Jack almost laughed. Unconventional. That was a polite way of saying desperate. "What's wrong with her?" "Nothing's wrong, sir. She's just not what you usually hire. She's been a housekeeper for years. No childcare training. She heard about your situation through her church and said she felt called to help." Cold. There was that word again. Like God was paying house calls now. "What's her name?" "Anna Thompson." Jack closed his eyes. He was so tired of hoping. So tired of watching his sons destroy every person who walked through that door. But what choice did he have? Send her. "Sir, are you sure? She's really not." "Send her." That night, Jack stood in his bedroom staring at an old photo. Him and Marissa on their wedding day. Her smile so bright it hurt to look at. His arm around her waist. Both of them believing in forever. He didn't know when forever had become just 3 years. Downstairs, the boys were still awake, still moving, still fighting whatever invisible enemy lived inside them. Tomorrow, another stranger would walk through that door. Another person who would look at his sons and eventually decide they were too much. Jack set the photo down and whispered something that felt close to prayer. "Please. If anyone's listening, please. I don't know what else to do." Outside, the rain started falling. And somewhere across town, a woman named Anna was packing her bag, checking her Bible one more time, getting ready to walk into a storm she'd been preparing for her whole life. The next morning, the doorbell rang at exactly 9 a.m. Jack opened the door, expecting someone desperate. Maybe someone too naive to know what they were walking into. But the woman standing there wasn't what he expected. She was tall, mid-30s, wearing a simple white blouse and pressed dark pants. She carried one small duffel bag and a Bible that looked like it had been read so many times the cover was coming loose. But it was her face that stopped him. She wasn't wearing that fake bright smile most nannies wore. Wasn't trying to look confident or prove anything. She just looked calm. Like she'd already made peace with whatever was about to happen. "Mr. Sullivan." Her voice was soft but steady. "Yes. You must be Anna Thompson. Thank you for seeing me." Jack stepped aside, but she didn't move yet. She stood on his doorstep, looking up at the house. Her eyes moved across the windows, the door, the stone steps, like she was really seeing it. Then she looked at him and said something that made his chest tighten. "This house has been hurting for a long time, hasn't it?" Jack didn't know how to answer that. So he just nodded. Anna stepped inside. If you've ever felt like your home was breaking and you didn't know how to fix it, subscribe. Not because I need you to, but because sometimes the stories that break us open are the ones that put us back together. Don't walk away from this one yet. The boys were upstairs. Jack could hear them moving. Whispering. Planning. And then Cole's voice, loud and clear, let's see how long this one lasts. Anna didn't ask for a tour. Didn't ask where to put her things. She just set her bag down in the hallway and said, "Where are the boys?" Jack's throat went dry. "Upstairs. But maybe we should talk first about. I'd like to meet them. Ms. Thompson, you should know they're difficult." Anna looked at him with something that felt like pity. Not for the boys. For him. "Mr. Sullivan, hurt children aren't difficult. They're just loud about their pain." Before Jack could respond, she walked toward the stairs. The boys were in the playroom. Jack heard them before he saw them, laughing, the kind of laughter that meant someone was about to get hurt. Anna pushed the door open. Four heads snapped toward her. Cole stepped forward first. The leader. The one who tested everyone hardest. "You're the new one?" "I'm Anna." "How long you staying?" "As long as I'm needed." Grant laughed. "That's what they all say." Anna didn't flinch. She walked into the room and sat down on the floor. Not on a chair. Not standing over them. On the floor, at their level. "I know you've had a lot of people come and go," she said quietly. "I know you don't trust me. That's okay. You don't have to trust me today." Cole crossed his arms. "You're gonna leave like the rest of them." "Maybe," Anna said. "But not today." The room went quiet. The boys stared at her like she'd just spoken a different language. Then Asher, the youngest, the one who always cried first, said something that cracked the air. "Do you know our mom?" Anna's face softened. "No, sweetheart. I don't." "She's dead." "I know. I'm so sorry." "Are you gonna die too?" Jack felt his chest cave in. He wanted to step in, to stop this, to protect Anna from the question that had no good answer. But Anna didn't look scared. She just looked at Asher and said, "One day, yes. Everyone does. But not today. Today I'm here." Asher stared at her. Then he nodded, like that was the only honest answer he'd ever gotten. Cole's jaw tightened. "We're gonna make you quit." Anna met his eyes. "You can try." That night, Jack checked the security cameras. The boys had been quiet all afternoon. Too quiet. At 11:47 p.m., he saw them on the landing near Anna's room, whispering, carrying something. His heart sank. Tomorrow morning, Anna would be gone just like the rest. Jack woke up to silence. Not the kind of silence that meant peace. The kind that meant something bad had already happened. He got dressed and went downstairs. No sounds from the kitchen. No footsteps. No voices. Then he heard it. A soft laugh. He followed the sound and found Anna in the hallway, soaking wet from head to toe. Water dripped from her hair, her clothes, pooling on the hardwood floor. Above her on the landing, a bucket lay on its side. Empty. The boys stood at the top of the stairs, frozen. Waiting for her to scream. Waiting for her to storm out. Waiting to be right again. But Anna didn't scream. She looked up at them, water still dripping from her nose, and said, "Well, guess it's raining inside today." Then she smiled. Not a fake smile. A real one. The boys just stared. Jack stepped forward. "Ms. Thompson, I'm so sorry. I'll call the agency and—" "No need," Anna said calmly. "I brought extra clothes." She walked past him, left wet footprints on the floor, went to her room, and came back 10 minutes later in dry clothes, hair pulled back, like nothing had happened. The boys were still on the stairs. Still staring. Anna looked up at them. "Breakfast in 20 minutes. I'm making pancakes. You're welcome to help or just watch. Either way is fine." Then she walked into the kitchen and started pulling out pans. Jack stood there, speechless. Upstairs, he heard Grant whisper to Cole, "She didn't even get mad." Cole's voice was quieter. "What if she stays?" Jack's throat closed up. Because for the first time, his son sounded scared of something new. Not scared of being hurt. Scared of hoping. That afternoon, Jack sat in his office downtown, but he couldn't focus. He kept checking his phone, waiting for the call. The call that said Anna had quit. But the call never came. Instead, at 4:32 p.m., His phone buzzed with a text from his security system. Motion detected in the dining room. He opened the camera feed and saw something that made his hands shake. The boys were sitting at the table. Anna was with them. And they were praying. Jack left work early. He didn't tell anyone. He just grabbed his keys and drove home faster than he should have. The house was quiet when he walked in. Not the bad kind of quiet. A different kind. The kind that felt like breathing. He heard voices coming from the dining room. Soft. Gentle. Jack moved toward the sound and stopped in the doorway. Anna was setting plates on the table. Nothing fancy. Just simple food, chicken, rice, vegetables. The boys were sitting down. All four of them. Not fighting. Not yelling. Just sitting. Their hands were folded. Anna sat down with them, bowed her head, and said, "Let's thank God for this food." The boys bowed their heads too. Asher whispered, "God, thank you for the food. And for Anna. Please don't take her away. Please don't take anybody else." Jack's vision blurred. Grant added, "And help us stop being so mean." Hudson, the quiet one, the one who barely spoke anymore, whispered, "Help Dad not be so sad." Cole, the leader, the one who fought the hardest, said nothing at first. Then, barely audible, "Help us remember Mom without it hurting so much." Jack couldn't hold it in anymore. His shoulders shook. Tears ran down his face. Anna looked up and saw him standing there. She didn't rush him. Didn't tell him it was okay. She just made space. "Mr. Sullivan," she said gently, "there's a seat for you." Jack walked in and sat down. His sons stared at him like they'd been waiting years for him to stop pretending he was fine. "I miss her too," Jack whispered. "Every single day." Cole's lip trembled. "We thought you forgot about her." "Never. I could never forget her." Asher reached across the table and put his small hand on Jack's. Grant did the same. Then Hudson. Then Cole. They sat there, hands touching, and for the first time in 3 years, they weren't a broken family pretending to be okay. They were a broken family learning how to heal. If you've ever lost someone and tried to keep going like you didn't, subscribe. Because this story is for everyone who's still carrying grief they haven't been allowed to cry about. You're not alone in this. That night, Jack went to bed feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. But at 2 a.m., he woke up to a sound that shattered it. Crashing. Shouting. Crying. He ran toward Anna's room and found the door wide open, the boys inside, and something torn to pieces on the floor. Jack burst into Anna's room and froze. Her Bible was destroyed. Pages ripped out, scattered across the floor like broken wings. Her clothes pulled from the closet. Her bed stripped. The boys stood in the middle of it, shaking. Not with anger. With fear. Cole was breathing hard. "We didn't mean, we just." "What did you do?" Jack's voice came out sharp, harder than he wanted. Asher started crying. "We got scared." "Scared of what?" "That she'd leave." Grant shouted. "Everyone leaves, so we made her leave first." Jack felt rage rising in his chest. 3 years of trying, 3 years of failing, and the one person who actually reached his sons, they'd driven her away. "Ms. Thompson, I'm so sorry. I'll pay for everything, I'll." Anna raised her hand. "Mr. Sullivan, please." She walked past him, stepped over the torn pages, and sat down on the floor in the middle of the mess. "Boys," she said quietly. "Come here." They didn't move. "It's okay. Come here." Slowly, one by one, they sat down around her. Anna picked up a torn page and held it gently. "You know what this book taught me?" They shook their heads. "It taught me that broken things can still be loved. That tearing something apart doesn't mean it's gone forever." She looked at each of them. "Your mom's death wasn't your fault. You didn't make her leave. And you can't scare me into leaving either." Asher's voice cracked. "But what if you die too?" Anna's eyes filled with tears. "One day I will. But not because you weren't good enough. Not because you didn't behave. Not because of anything you did. That's not how love works." Cole's face crumpled. "Then how does it work?" "Love stays," Anna whispered. "Even when it's hard. Even when it's scary. Even when it gets torn up. It stays. And then, for the first time in 3 years, Jack's sons cried like children. Not angry. Not violent. Just sad. The kind of sad that heals when you let it out. Jack sat down with them. He pulled his boys close. And he let himself cry too. The next morning, Jack found Anna in the kitchen piecing her Bible back together with tape. He sat down across from her and saw something written in the margins of one torn page. A name. A date. And he realized Anna hadn't just come to save his family. She'd come because she knew what it felt like to lose everything. Jack couldn't stop looking at the page. The name was faded, written in blue ink. Michael Thompson. March 14th, 2019. Who was he? Jack asked quietly. Anna didn't look up. She kept taping pages together, her hands steady. My husband. Jack's chest tightened. I'm sorry. He was a firefighter. Went into a building during a warehouse fire in Northeast. The roof collapsed. He didn't make it out. How long ago? 6 years this March. Jack felt something crack open inside him. And you still believe in God? Anna looked up. Yes. How? Anna set the Bible down. Because the morning after Michael died, I woke up and didn't want to keep living. I sat on my kitchen floor and begged God to take me too. And you know what I heard? Jack shook his head. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I was so angry I threw everything I could reach. Plates, cups, picture frames. I screamed until my voice gave out. And when I finally stopped, I was still alive. Still breathing. And I realized God wasn't going to take me. He was going to ask me to keep going. Jack's voice cracked. I don't know how to keep going. Yes, you do. You've been doing it for 3 years. I've been surviving. That's not the same thing. Anna reached across the table and put her hand on his. Then stop surviving and start living. Your boys need you here. Not just in this house. Here. Present. With them. Jack looked down. I've been so angry at God. Then tell him that. I don't even know how to pray anymore. You don't need to know how. You just need to be honest. Jack closed his eyes. His throat burned. And for the first time in 3 years, he prayed. Not polished. Not pretty. Just honest. I don't understand why you took her. I don't understand why my boys have to hurt this much. I don't know how to fix this. But I'm here. I'm still here. So if you're listening, help me. Please. When he opened his eyes, Anna was smiling. Not a sad smile. A knowing one. He's listening, she said. He always has been. From the doorway, a small voice said, Dad. Jack turned. Asher stood there in his pajamas, eyes wide. Were you praying? Jack nodded, his voice too thick to speak. Asher walked over and climbed into his lap. I pray too. Every night. I ask God to help you stop being sad. Jack held his son and cried into his hair. The next 2 weeks were different. Calmer. The boys still had hard days, but they were learning to use words instead of fists. Jack started coming home earlier, making breakfast, reading bedtime stories. It felt like healing. Then one morning, a black car pulled up outside the gate. A woman stepped out, dressed in expensive clothes, carrying a briefcase. Jack's stomach dropped. He knew who she was. Marissa's sister. And she wasn't there for a friendly visit. Her name was Victoria. Marissa's older sister. The one who'd called Jack reckless for working too much, who'd said he wasn't ready to be a father, who'd blamed him when Marissa died. Jack met her at the door. Victoria. Jack. Her voice was cold. I need to talk to you. About the boys. And about the woman you have living in this house. Jack's jaw tightened. Anna is helping. Anna is staff, Jack. She's a maid. And from what I've heard, you're letting her play mother to my sister's children. She's not playing anything. She's the first person who's actually reached them. Victoria stepped closer. I've been talking to a lawyer. If you can't provide a stable environment for those boys, I can petition for custody. Jack felt his blood turn cold. You wouldn't. Watch me. Marissa would want them raised properly. Not by hired help. Marissa would want them loved. That's exactly what Anna is doing. She's staff, Jack. Don't confuse your children. Victoria turned and walked back to her car, but before she got in, she looked back. You have 2 weeks to figure out what's more important. Your pride or your children. Jack stood there, shaking. Inside, Anna was in the kitchen with the boys making lunch. They were laughing. Actually laughing. Cole looked up. Dad, you okay? Jack forced a smile. Yeah, buddy. I'm fine. But he wasn't fine. Because he knew Victoria wasn't bluffing. And he knew if he fought her, it would get ugly. Court. Lawyers. His son's in the middle of it all. That night, Jack sat in his office staring at nothing. His phone buzzed. A text from his lawyer. We need to talk. Victoria filed preliminary paperwork. This is serious. Jack put his head in his hands. A soft knock on the door. Anna stepped in. The boys are asleep. Thank you. She didn't leave. What happened today? Jack told her everything. When he finished, Anna was quiet for a long moment. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. If I fight her, it'll hurt the boys. If I don't, I lose them. Anna sat down across from him. Then maybe you don't fight her. Maybe you show her. Show her what? That this house isn't broken anymore. That your boys are healing. That love isn't about titles or blood. It's about who shows up. Jack looked at her. You'd stay? Even through this? Anna smiled. I told you. Love stays. If you've ever had to prove you were worthy of loving someone, subscribe. Not for me. For every person who's ever been told they weren't enough, even when they gave everything. 2 weeks later, Victoria came back. This time with her lawyer. Jack opened the door, ready for war. But before he could say a word, he heard footsteps behind him. Small footsteps. His sons stood in the hallway, side by side. And Cole, his oldest, his toughest, looked Victoria in the eye and said something that changed everything. Victoria stood in the doorway, her lawyer beside her, both of them dressed like they were heading into battle. Jack, we need to discuss. She's the one who stayed, Cole said. Victoria stopped. Excuse me. Cole stepped forward, his brothers behind him. You left. Everyone left. But Anna stayed. Cole, sweetheart, I know this is confusing, but... It's not confusing, Grant said. You weren't here when we were sad. She was. Hudson, who barely spoke to anyone, looked at Victoria and said, You didn't come to Mom's grave with us. Anna did. Asher's voice was the softest. You didn't pray with us when we missed Mom. Anna did. Victoria's face went pale. Boys, I'm trying to help. You're trying to take us away, Cole said, his voice breaking. But we don't want to go. We want to stay here. With Dad. With Anna. Jack's throat closed up. He looked at his sons, these 4 boys who'd spent 3 years pushing everyone away, and they were choosing to stay. Victoria looked at Jack, then at Anna, then at the boys. Her lawyer whispered something in her ear. She nodded slowly. I see, Victoria said quietly. Then she looked at Anna. I need to know something. Are you doing this for money? Anna met her eyes. No, ma'am. Then why? Because they needed someone. And I know what it's like to need someone and have no one show up. Victoria stared at her for a long moment. Then she looked at Jack. If I walk away, you don't get to mess this up. These boys don't get another chance at healing. I know. Victoria nodded. She looked at her nephews one more time, and something in her face softened. Marissa would have liked you, she said to Anna. Then she turned and walked back to her car. Jack let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. That night, the house felt different. Lighter. The boys sat around the dinner table with Jack and Anna. Hands folded. Eyes closed. Asher prayed. Thank you, God, for not letting anyone take us. Thank you for Anna. Thank you for Dad being here more. And thank you for helping us remember Mom without being so scared. When they opened their eyes, Jack saw his son smiling. Not fake smiles. Real ones. But then Cole said something that made Jack's chest tighten. Dad. Yeah, buddy. If you ever feel like leaving in your head again, can you tell us? So we can help you stay. Jack's vision blurred. He reached across the table and took his son's hand. I promise. Anna wiped her eyes and smiled. This family is going to be just fine. And for the first time in 3 years, Jack believed her. If this story reminded you that broken families can still be held together, if it made you think of someone you love who needed to hear it, don't let it end here. Subscribe. Not for me, but because choosing to stay connected to stories like this is a small way to honor the kind of love that saves families. And if you've ever been the person who stayed when everyone else left, share this story. Because someone out there needs to know that staying matters.